Welcome to Next Topic Podcast, where the only rule is to stay on topic and no topic is off limits. Today is July the 28th, and it is episode number 31. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about hot topics. My name is Lo, and I am joined on the panel by
Shad.
Yeah. Abel.
Yeah,
All right, so let's dive into these hot topics.
Yeah, let's get right into it. So today, we're gonna dive into a couple of hot topics today. Want to talk to our commenters and some of our YouTubers, address some of those comments there. We're gonna talk about Kanye West. His meltdown of the year. Jump into the new sports season and how they're handling the Black Lives Matter movement, and maybe get into something Trump said earlier this week. So let's start with one of the comments a YouTuber commented on one of our videos, specifically the interracial dating episode. So this is from Oakland Soldier, and they said,
"Hey, Oakland Soldier,
how are you? We thank you so much for commenting. Since you commented, we wanted to address your comment. And you said, those women aren't happy," specifically referring to Lauren and Krisha. They seem very insecure and frustrated. Their first choice was definitely a Black man. They've been disappointed and hurt by Black men. They will never truly be happy with their current man. Deep down, they know it. So I think we should just start off by saying, Lauren, would you like to address this?
So when I saw it, the first thing I did was laugh. I find it funny that someone just knows so much about my life and how I've been hurt and wronged by Black men. But what I will say is, one is, this is what we were talking about in the episode. So it was no shocker to me that someone feels this way. And I'm not even going to speak to me being happy in my relationship or being genuinely happy and never being satisfied, whatever. I don't need to prove anything about my personal relationship with my partner to anyone outside of that. But besides that, what I will address is the first choice, definitely a Black man, and disappointed and hurt by Black men. So let's start with Black men. I was raised by a Black father who loved my Black mother, and they've been married now for 30-something odd years. So I had great representation of Black men and loving a Black woman and their Black children. So great representation there. Black men, lots of Black men in my family. I was the only in our my immediate cousins. I was the only young Black girl. I had some older Black female cousins, but I was around a lot of Black men who are great. So there's that. But when you think about elementary school, did y'all ever think when you had your first crush, when you were 4 or 5, boy, girls, when you see the person, you think, oh, I like that person. It never crossed my mind. Let me look over there at the Black boys. I like that Black boy over there. I can't say the Black boy was my first choice. There was just boys that I liked, and that was that. So just those two things, that's what I want to say about those. And yeah, I mean, I'm happy, whatever. I don't give a shit. I just found it funny, and I saw it. I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know anyone was commenting under our videos, first off. And so, yeah, that's my take. I don't know how y'all feel. Did you, when you started liking boys and girls, did you ever think, were you thinking about their race?
Not.
Or did you just,
no.
Not at all.
I just find your first choice, that's just a funny statement to me.
I ain't gonna lie.
I think she meant your preference. I didn't think she meant your first crush ever in life, though.
Was it a guy or a girl, though?
I don't know who it is.
I don't know. I thought from the way I read it, it was a female.
Oh, I read it as a guy.
Oh, really?
I only say that because
as a guy
because comments. I've gotten comments from Black dudes about it's someone who's not Black can never meet what they bring to the table, or like, you know, you ain't never like, what, he don't know what to do with that. This is something that like Black men and other races in the bed are like totally different and this and that, so you're never going to be satisfied, or like he doesn't understand the struggle sort of thing. So I definitely read it as a Black man.
I didn't read it as a Black. I probably did. I just read it as a man for sure. I didn't really think about the race or whatnot, but I did think it was interesting.
Why would a white man say that?
You know, it's a lot of weird people out there in this world. So anybody could say
It'd be weird if a
You'd be
different race
surprised.
said that.
it could be a white man because he'd be like, look, I'm a white man and I've been through the same thing, and I just know I wasn't her first choice.
And it's very well written. There's like no typos, no nothing. So they sat down and watched the whole episode and sat there and like write that and like wrote the whole thing. I'm like, they used the correct yours and they's and theirs.
And to be honest, I don't really recall even specifically what we were talking about. But I just know for me, it has very little to do with how he looks and it has more so to do with what he stands for. And I don't care if he was Black, white, Asian, Latinx. It's what he stands for that means something to me. So I don't care. I mean, I don't care.
Right. And also, you and Christian both stated that like y'all really didn't like date, like wasn't never in a long-term relationship with a Black man before either.
Mm-mm.
So like,
No.
I'm like, y'all said that during that episode. So like y'all being hurt for like Black men actually never happened.
But I think some people too like assume like because people talk about like some Black women talk about like not really feeling wanted by a Black man and this and that, but I don't personally feel that. Like I've been hit on by a lot of Black men or you know, asked on dates, things like that, and that's okay, but it just never went anywhere, and it was just because of who that person was. Like, and I think I said on the episode too, like, just because you're Black doesn't mean we have the same set of morals or you know want to achieve the same. Yeah, exactly. So
right, yeah, I just thought it was funny. I'm like, not to speak for Christian, I'm like, Christian dad ain't even Black, so
I know. Right, her situation is really interesting because she herself is biracial. Yeah.
I was rolling.
You was laughing, Cameron?
Rolling. I thought that was fucking hilarious.
I did too. It was funny. I was not expecting that at all.
Normally, I read the comments. Normally, people are coming at me and like calling me like a coon or a moron or some shit.
Not
what?
A coon.
Yeah, for sure. Y'all never read the comments?
Oh my God, we need an episode where we go through comments.
We do. A coon?
So be like, oh, he acting real coonish right now. I'm like, hey, whatever. Hey, for real.
Not a coon.
I was rolling. I was like, oh shit, somebody coming for Lauren?
You know, me and Belle like, leave us alone.
No, I thought it was hella funny. At first I was like, does this person know any of them? Like, is he like Oakland Soldier? Who's this guy? Yeah.
He a ram.
And then I read the comments and bro he just knew y'all life. Like I guess.
He did.
It was funny.
Okay, so maybe we address more comments in the future, but for the moment we are moving on to the next topic. Yes. So let's get into Kanye West's most recent.
Kanye who?
West's.
Cameron.
It's hard to say the West with the apostrophe S. You can say it. You want to say it for me, Cameron?
No.
Okay.
See, that's why I didn't pipe up, because I'm like, that is hard to say.
It's hard to say. To Kanye's most recent
there you go.
episode or meltdown, which you want to call it. So let me provide you guys with, some little history on how this all happened and stemmed from, because it's been about 2 weeks in the making at this point. So first, Kanye West.
I think it started 4th of July.
Not a good day for people. So Kanye West, of course, announced his bid to run for president. So in that, he went to South Carolina to start campaigning. And at that campaign, tears flowed, which he talked about his wife and him like contemplating abortion and things like that, and also said things like, Harriet Tubman really didn't free the Black people. And then after that, he found out he can't even be on the ballot for South Carolina because he didn't get the necessary, signatures and things like that. So then after that, that's when the Twitter rant ensued, and he tweeted things like his kids will never do Playboy, him wishing that he can divorce Kim, calling Kris Jenner Kris Jong-un, and things like that.
Sorry. Keep
so
going.
After that, finally, Kim replied, basically asking, for compassion for her husband as he deals with his battles with mental illness. Then after that, Kanye West apologized to his wife for his most recent meltdown. So what did you guys think of this Kanye meltdown of 2020?
Before we start, I do want to just say that we by no means want to joke about bipolar disorder or other mental illnesses. Like, I think that is like, well, I can say for me, I think that's off the table. That's fine, and I respect that. I want to be respectful to what he's going through with in regards to his mental health. However, there's a lot of other stuff to unpack that I think these are things that he has been stating for many years, and it's not new, and I don't want to conflate the two as though his mental health issues are the reason why he thinks the way he does, because there's a lot of people who deal with bipolar disorder or other disorders and they don't think that way. Go, Cameron.
I paid it no mind.
I'm
over the Kanye meltdowns and breakdowns and shit. Like, I'm over it. What history book are you reading, my nigga? Like, because it ain't the ones we had.
So you specifically talking about the Harriet Tubman comment?
But definitely that one. And then what's up with all this, like I don't know if y'all seen that video when he was in South Carolina. He was like, I almost killed my daughter, and all of a sudden, and the girl was like, oh yeah, we out of here.
Yes.
What's going on? The only thing that I could maybe give him is the fact that every man that's dealt with the Kardashian had a mental breakdown.
He had one before he was
really kind of crazy.
True.
Yeah.
This one was a lot though, and in public. You got Lamar,
public.
Scott Disick, Kanye West, and Caitlyn / Bruce Jenner. They all just went crazy.
Not / Cameron.
And Caitlyn didn't have a breakdown. She just transition.
Right.
Yeah, do that.
I mean, who knows? Caitlyn might have transitioned sooner, not being with the Kardashians. So that could be an argument, because there's a lot of pressure being in that bubble.
He was married.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying it's one thing to be married in the public eye, and all that. Yeah, Abel.
I can't
Cameron get us dragged.
I can't. I just can't connect to bro no more. Like anything that he says, I get that he's dealing with mental health issues, and I think that should be taken serious. But even when he was running for president, and it's hard for me to even think what at this point in his career and everything, it's for him, he thinks okay, I have a voice, I want to lead and things like that. And you're saying some things that are just bro, I think I've seen a video of Dave Chappelle flew and seen him checked up on him or something.
Justin
and
Bieber.
I was like, yo, this is serious, because you see it. This is not normal. Some people are just running away with it though. I think I've seen, I don't know if it's true or not, but on Twitter he was like, Get Out was about my life or something. Did he tweet that? That's wild to be you don't play around with stuff like that, because people would take it serious, because people are already thinking that beforehand. So yeah, that's wild. I don't know. He's going through a lot for sure. You could tell.
Was the tweet where it said Kylie stinks, was that real too?
I didn't see that.
I didn't see that.
I didn't see that. Whoa.
I didn't see that.
Cameron, did you just make that up?
Right.
God, Kylie stinks. I was like, that's random as fuck.
You better stop. We don't need Kris Jong-un coming for us.
Right.
Yeah,
I need it.
What I think is, it sort of makes sense, but don't make sense. seeing as though, he also like announced that he was making a new album in the same time all this publicity was happening, which makes me like question his like what his motives are in doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Because him running for president, everybody wanted to make change and stuff like that. Then like him, like at his campaign, usually when you have a campaign, you talk about topics that have something to do with America as a whole. And that whole rally was very personal. That stuff we want to hear about topics that you're going to help us. Like you talking about your own marriage and your own abortion, stuff like that doesn't make sense in that context in which you was having a campaign for. And then you have a whole like breakdown because you didn't follow the rules of how a campaign in the presidential bid supposed to work. And then you announce the album. So my thing is, what do you want? You want to sell more albums? Do you want to be president? You don't know.
He definitely doesn't know what he wants. That's very clear.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure it out. I was like, and did the album even come out when it was supposed to? It was supposed to come out Friday.
I ain't seen nothing.
Me either.
I don't know.
Him and Taylor Swift was to drop at the same time.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, oh gosh, he's still competing with her.
He can't take her.
Too much. One question I have, well, actually two things. So one is, so when all this stuff started happening and Kanye went on his Twitter rant, everybody was like looking like, okay, what's Kim got to say? People have been waiting for her to say something. She did end up releasing the statement that Rashad alluded to earlier. How do y'all feel about the fact that, well, one, we talked about all these people coming to visit the ranch. She has not, I mean, to our knowledge, been there yet, and I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out, like, because a lot of people are like blaming her or like, and I don't think she is to blame for his action as an adult who, Rashad, I don't think she's to blame for his actions.
Because
No, I'm not. I don't think she's to blame for his actions, but she does have a role in all of this that she, I feel, needs to own up to. So like, I talked to you about this, Rashad, like on July 4th, when he announced he was running for president, she was super gung-ho to be like,
gung-ho for the talent show.
Yeah, Kanye 2020, yada, yada, yada. So you promoting this while he's like, because literally like the next day, people were like, oh, family, or reports were saying family's concerned about his mental health, thinks he's going through an episode. So it wasn't no surprise if he was going through an episode, why would you be for this presidential bid, which from the jump was wrong. Like, first of all, he didn't have any stance on any sort of policy, right? So he wasn't going to be leading folks to nowhere. So he wasn't a good candidate to begin with. So that's problematic to me. Those sorts of like celebrity behaviors. Like,
I'm like, that's our president now, though.
Yeah, Trump
exactly, right. And we don't need more of that. Like,
America just needs to be single for the next 4 years and work on herself.
Like to address your question about Kim's role in Kanye's 2020 meltdown, I would say this, like, speaking of the fact that like she was like for her husband, which I think a lot of women, are and should be. She could have not known he was having a mental episode at that moment in time, which is fair. We all knew Kanye West was like, we all knew he wanted to run for president. He said it multiple times. And of course, like if she was against it, she probably would have told him or said something against it for like the years he's been talking about it. And also it's, I think, it's kind of like, to me, it's like sexist. That's when people say like, oh, it always like a woman always got to come like fix her husband. Like her husband to me is like, why she got to come fix him? Like he's a grown man worth billions of dollars and is able to get all the help he can get because he for sure can afford it. He can afford any type of medication that he could possibly need. So my thing is like, what do people want Kim to do? Like you can't put her in a place to, like speak out against her husband because that won't make her like no better than him in the end. So like, what do we want her to do? Like, what would be?
But that's why I said she can't. I don't blame her for his actions, and she can't do like he's.
He said he tried.
Grown. He's an adult. So at the end of the day, he has the liberty to do whatever he's doing. But when you think of like marriage, like through sickness and health, and like technically he's going through sickness right now, you would hope that, you know, that partnership is strong enough to, like, you know, see him through that, where he's not having like these like public meltdowns. It's just kind of, it's really sad to see that, like, you know, he has all these friends coming and this and that, and I don't know what's become of their marriage.
Well, he said he's been wanting to divorce her for some time. He said that. And then you want to divorce me, and then y'all want me to go help? I'm not help you. You don't want to be with me. Like, bye. You can stay in Wyoming. You talking about our kids getting an abortion? You can be over there by yourself at that point and have all the episodes of a whole season of Game of Thrones all you want to. I'm not coming to help you. Like, I already tried to send the people. He said Kim and Chris send the people to 5150 him. What else you want me to do?
Yeah.
It's tough.
My issue, but like I said, my issue stemmed from the original like campaign, whatever, run for president announcement. Because regardless of whether or not he has mental health issues, he was never a good candidate. He never had he didn't have it, like he had no opinion on anything. Yeah.
No platform.
And so it was like, why? I'm not going to be supporting my man if he doesn't have an opinion on anything. Like he didn't like.
But you're not going to say that publicly though.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to also be like, yeah, Dustin 2020. Like, hell no.
I don't know. I feel like when he first announced his presidency like years ago, I don't think I was for it or against it just because I didn't know where he stood. So I think I was given him more of a chance to really surprise me and showing what he could possibly stand for if he could do better than the current president we have, because it ain't too hard to do better than that.
Right.
So I don't know. I really had no expectations, good or bad. So, you know, it wasn't really a big deal to me when he did announce it. I wasn't like, what the fuck? Kanye 2020? Hell no. But I also wasn't like Kanye 2020 because that's dumb as fuck. But I mean, right now it's definitely no to Kanye for 2020.
Well, you're the president, you have a meltdown.
Huh? Right. Hell no. We're gonna bomb everybody.
I have a question.
So the votes though. Trump is gonna get reelected because he's gonna split the votes.
Let's hope not. I'm on some damn wood.
There's people out there that'll write him in.
Have to,
and we hope not. Abel, you were about to say something, I think?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I didn't take him serious from the beginning, like a couple years when he said he's gonna run for president. And then after his relationship with like Donald Trump, like all that, I felt like maybe Donald Trump, as sad as it is, he set standard for how low you could be to be a president. So I think that's what it's like, an emotional reaction I feel like he's having. Like if he could do it, and this is like, it's barely, I don't know, it's a shit show, then I could probably, you know, might as well. And it's like probably money motives too. I don't know, like trending album, all that. So yeah.
So I'm just gonna touch on cancel culture here for a minute, because like a lot of people will get canceled and people won't support anything they do based off of things they said pretty much aligned with like stuff Kanye has been saying and the disrespect he has been showing towards, I would say, Black women, specifically regarding like the Harriet Tubman stuff. Would y'all continue to support him in other ways? And if so, why or why not? So me, like, I'm not wearing no Yeezys. And I've said that forever.
Right.
Because I don't want to support someone who stands on a platform that doesn't align with my own. So that is what it is.
Just at next time, sis. Like, just.
You said what?
I feel like this is a direct question to Cameron.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if Rashad would ever wear. I've never seen Rashad in Yeezys.
I already talked about this. Like, we all know, whatever what Kanye do, Cameron gonna wear Yeezys because he like Jesus.
Right. Like, at the end of the day, I don't agree with what the fuck he's doing right now. Like I said in earlier episodes, people grow, people change. That could be for better or for worse. Unfortunately,
it's not growth.
Like I'm saying, unfortunately, it's worse. Like, You grow, you decay.
People change.
But like, yeah, I'm gonna listen to old Kanye West music because I love old Kanye West music.
That's
Uh,
yeah.
I already own Yeezys, so I'm gonna continue to wear the Yeezys I own. Am I gonna go out and look to buy more? No, but if I find some at a good price for under retail, hell yeah, I'm gonna buy some. Why? Because very, very comfortable. But other than that, I mean, I don't buy shit else. Like, I don't do any other thing to support Kanye. It's just his shoes and his old music. I don't listen to that new shit because that shit is trash.
Mm-hmm.
And
you know what? And I'm not judging you for wearing the Yeezys, because the way I feel about like the whole picture of it is like, I'm like, oh, I can't wear that because that goes against da 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 da. But if you are looking at it just like, this is a shoe that's comfortable, that I like the look of it, whatever, I can't argue with that. I just always like to understand where you're coming from, because you stand, firmly against some of the shit he's saying, but you will still wear Yeezy. So I'm just trying to, yeah.
It's definitely not about lining his pockets. Like, he don't need me to line his pockets. Everybody get that nigga money left and right. I just like the shoe. It's not all of them, but some of them, and they're comfortable, and I like shoes.
He's not R. Kelly.
But it makes you think about also like votes for a president too. Like, people were like, what does my one little vote have to do? But the same could be said when you're like, oh, just because I buy the one shoe, like there's hella other people buying the shoe. So
I don't think they hold the same weight. I like what you try.
Okay.
Yeah, go there.
I think that's a valid argument. But let's move on to the next hot topic.
Yes, let's move to the next topic in our
No, but what I'm talking about is like individual accountability. But go ahead.
Yes, in our 5 minutes that we have left. So, like I said, now, do we want to talk about the sports and protesting, or what Trump said about him being the best thing for black people since sliced bread?
I'll let the
sports
gentleman
and
decide.
protesting. That's my vote.
Okay.
Okay, let's go with that, Abel.
Let's do sports. Okay. So this week, the sports seasons have all commenced, right? I don't watch sports.
Not all. Basketball, baseball.
That's my baseball. That's the ones.
Forget football.
So some sports have started up again because Corona and COVID-19 have changed the way like some of these seasons are being played, which they have like no audiences and they have like shortened seasons, right?
Yeah, and social distancing on the bench.
No audiences.
Like, even
that's weird.
Benches are social distancing, but on the court,
I know, bro. Yeah.
But it's weird because like with basketball, like they're all basically quarantining together, so it doesn't make sense. Y'all might as well hug and do everything else. But anyways.
Anyway, but what specifically we want to talk about is the fight for Black Lives Matters. And as we continue to see, players kneeling and other things like protesting in different ways during the national anthem. So a few examples from the past week is that players from the Yankees and the A's like took a knee, go A's, during the national anthem. Also, got all of us got the same thing. The players of two of WNBA teams walked off the court as the national anthem was playing during the season opening game in Florida on Saturday, in the act of solidarity with Black Lives Matter. It was the Seattle Storms and the New York Liberty players. They wore black sweaters with the words "Say Her Name" written on it as part of the tribute to Breonna Taylor. But in that, which I thought that was wonderful. Mm-hmm. My thing is, leave it up to Black women to show you how the fuck is done.
That's okay. I'm glad you said it, because y'all say I'm the one who always.
Right, I'm like, we could barely get these niggas out here to take a knee, but you got the whole black bitches, walk off the whole court.
Not the black bitches.
I'm sorry, the black women.
There's some white women and all kinds of women too, but yes.
But it's the NBA still.
Yes,
They walk off the court, and men we were trying to get them to just get on their knees for one time.
Right.
The difference is like the NBA commissioner made it against the NBA rules for them to walk off the court or take a knee and shit like that. Like there's heavy fines and like suspensions and shit like that if you do that. So
Right. It was heavy fines and heavy whippings for people, who would run away from slavery and run away from the masters. But, we still see people do that as well. So you taking a knee is far worse of a, far less of a.
Okay, Lauren, slavery and fucking basketball.
No, here's to Roshad's point. There's always going to be consequences for your action.
Right.
For anything, in any context, right? So I think the point he's making here is like, just because there's fines doesn't mean that is justification for why you're not acting. If you truly feel strongly about injustice and you're like, no, I need to take a stand on this, you will say, fuck it. Okay. You will take that fine.
So for those players who aren't LeBron James and Anthony Davis making billion max deal contracts and shit like that, people that are role players and don't have that much money,
I hear that argument.
Still have families to take care of. They can't afford those fines.
I understand the argument, but here's the thing: is there's power in numbers.
I agree.
Like, remember when they boycotted? Like, there's power in numbers, and I think if everyone is,
it doesn't work.
But that's what I think is the issue. That's why Roshad was like, you seen all them WNBA women? They said bye. Right. If everyone stuck together,
as much as NBA players by any means.
Exactly. And they said, you know what? I'm a firm believer that it has been and it will be women that lead the revolution. That's what I think. But yeah, I don't know. I have a question for all y'all. How do you feel about just in general, like the athletes, like protesting, kneeling, this and that? Do you feel as though it does something? And if so, what do you think it does? And yeah, whatever.
I think it keeps it. So because they know their platform, because they know they're nationally watched, changing the names on their jerseys or kneeling or wearing, the stuff that brings light back onto it, I think that helps keep it at the forefront of your mind because, one, basketball shouldn't even be being played right now. But because they brought it back, they're using that as a platform to show that we still stand for this. Just because our job continues doesn't mean that our revolution doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe, using that platform to keep light on it as much as possible is great. Are they out there protesting? No, some of them are, and some of them are being arrested for it. So, it's different shit that they do and don't do. But that goes with everything. But I think a lot of them are doing what they can in a positive way in the situation.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Cameron. I also noticed some of the post game interviews with the NBA players. They were like, I'm not trying to answer any questions related to the game. I just wanted to make sure Breonna Taylor. And I thought I was like, okay, that's good. I thought I was like taking a stance because you're kind of, you want the attention to be where you want it to be with the movement, with the protests and everything that's going on. So yeah, on top of what Cameron said, I like the fact that they're very adamant now with their answers and things like that. And hopefully it doesn't die out. But yeah.
What I would say is like all these systems that we have, have been like built upon like racism and like even like without the Breonna Taylor and George Floyd things happening, like changes in a way like these sports are being played and like them standing up and like singing the national anthem to the flag has like built, with like racist like connotations already embedded in them already. I'm like national anthem racist, like us singing to the flag, which has like subjected us to like slavery and things like that, should be like taken out because like the national anthem or the flag has done nothing good for Black Americans in general. So like I think that whole situation. I'm like, why are we singing the national anthem anyway? Like I don't even get the point of us even singing it at sporting events. To be honest, I'm like, what's the point?
It makes sense at the Olympics,
right? The Olympics make sense because we are like a one country unified like together. It makes sense, but like the Lakers versus the Warriors.
Los Angeles in America. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense to me. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So I just think that whole thing needs to be changed. And I also like them, like, taking a knee and, or walking off. They are like the biggest like stars in America. And sports and sporting events like, transcends like race, genders,
Yeah.
religions, and things like that. So like sporting events are like one time or one of the only times where like people of like different backgrounds can see the same thing. So that's why it's very important, because it can get everyone on the same, like, racist people watch basketball, non-racist people watch basketball, Black people, white people, young and old, all watch sports. So like, and I can't say that for anything else that we all watch.
It's a universal language for sure.
So yeah, so I think it's very important that they do their role in doing that, and especially since all these sporting events are, the biggest stars are Black men, and Black men are being killed by police at the highest rates. So that's why I think it's very important, because like, all these stars that you guys look up to, you guys, if there was somebody else on the street, you would have killed them.
That happened to an NFL player, actually. He was stopped at a light. I want to say he played for Kansas City football. And he got stopped at a light and some shit happened and the cop killed him. Like, just because he didn't know him as a superstar, but he was a role player for that team and he ended up dying just from cops, abusing power.
Right. Oh, wow. That sucks. And I do have another question, kind of a question, but something else that has happened. So as you guys know,
wait, I wasn't fit. I didn't get to say what I feel.
Oh, girl, because you was gone for a minute, so I had to keep it pushing. Like, you left.
Well, what I was going to say is that, like, generally I agree with everything y'all said. Two things I just wanted to say is, one, like you said, Cameron, like, they're doing their part and what they can do. And I'm a firm believer. I think when all this kind of started, like a lot of the protests and marches and stuff like that, everyone was looking at Black people to like all react the same way, right? And it was a lot of judgment going around, like, if you ain't out in the streets, you ain't down for our people, whatever. I am a firm believer that, one, people need to protect their mental health. This is all very exhausting and can be very depressing. But two, I think everyone has a role that they play in this, and everyone's role is not to be marching in the street or giving speeches and motivating people and da 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 da. That's not everyone's role, So I do agree that like everyone can play their part in the way that it suits best for them. But the one thing that I do want to talk about in regards to Breonna Taylor is, one, it's been like 130 something odd days since she was murdered, right? Nothing has changed. The people who killed her are still walking the street freely, right? And so I'm just trying to understand, even with everyone speaking up about it, like, people have been talking about it. I feel like it's almost becoming like background noise at this point, and it saddens me because, like, people hashtag anyways Breonna Taylor, or arrest the killers that the murderers that killed Breonna Taylor, and this and that, and it's just like nothing has changed, and I'm just trying to figure out why nothing has changed. People got out in the streets and like marched for George Floyd, and we saw his murderer and the people who were complicit in that murder get arrested, but nothing has happened for Breonna Taylor, who like literally did nothing, was in her home. And so I'm just trying to figure out why that is. And
New York never stopped protesting. Never.
No. People are still protesting. I'm not saying it, but I'm just saying, like, people are still protesting. People are saying her name. People are kneeling. People are wearing her name on their shirts, and nothing has happened. Why? It like pisses me off every day.
I think that
so
goes.
Like, I just don't want it to become like one of those things that people just say, like, "Oh, Breonna Taylor," whatever. Like,
yeah, I mean, people are saying it. Like, usually we just move on, and like usually this has, like, to me, has like taken on like a life of its own, and people are still saying it and like protesting things about it, which is like feel like surprising to me. And like our day and age, we trend and then it like leaves real quick. I just think, like, wouldn't it just been easier just to arrest the police officers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, but you want to send National Guards to all cities and stuff like that to stop them from protesting. I'm like, wouldn't time. Like, we are a capitalist
Because that's
society.
what America thinks
Yeah.
of
I know,
black
but we're a
men and
capitalist
black
society
women.
that like money and like, you know, money like drives us, and it's costing them more money to like subside the protest and actually bringing these people to justice. So the thing is like, so money isn't the thing here. It's
Isn't.
it's racism. It's pure racism.
Yeah,
You
I
know, at
mean,
the heart of it.
capitalism, as we, engage with it in this country, is built from racism. So
Yeah, it's
it's
just
kind of
pure.
like a chicken and an egg thing.
Yeah, you know, black women lives don't matter. So that's what it's just
Whoa.
racism, and that's what essentially what it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now that we got
Yes.
to a real
Okay.
depressing point.
One thing that you know how Lauren brings up extra points. One thing I found interesting was, and I talked to this about Lauren earlier, is that the San Francisco Giants pitcher
Mm.
Sam Coonrod.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
I know, I found that real ironic.
Right, did not kneel with the rest of his teammates in showing support for the Black Lives Matter movement, saying his religion and his personal feelings about Black Lives Matter movement wouldn't allow him to do it, saying, "I'm a Christian, so I just believe that I can't kneel before anything besides God."
See, and this is another conversation, but that's why I have issues with
Religion.
Yes,
The world?
I do. I do. But
I just don't see how those things are
Christian values.
correlated.
What does that have to do with?
I don't see it.
Anything
I
to do
think
with whatsoever. Because
No, it doesn't.
I grew up in a Christian household, and I kneel for Black Lives Matter. It has nothing to do with my religious background.
Right.
It has everything to do with my people and our injustices.
Mm-hmm. And shouldn't your religion be telling you to love thy neighbor and da 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 da? So it's like, well, your neighbor's hurting. So if your neighbor's kneeling because they're hurting, why aren't you down there kneeling with them?
Right. So at this point, I believe he's hiding behind religion to cover up his racist feelings,
His racism,
motives. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was, I don't know, it felt like an excuse at least for
Mm-hmm.
me, to be honest.
I was like, you can be Christian. We don't care. Get your ass down.
Yeah. That has
Right.
nothing to do.
For the Dodgers, Betts was the only one that kneeled, and everybody else just put their hand on him. But why didn't y'all kneel too?
Right.
What is the hand on the shoulder doing?
Like, we with you, but not really.
Right.
That's
We want to show that we with you.
Right. We
Right.
feel cool though. We're gonna have our drink after this, but we feel in solidarity with you though. But we really not. That's what that means.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like the action of people kneeling and or not standing like really needs to be addressed, because I think it's a difference like with kneeling for Black Lives Matter movement or and like not standing with the flag. And I think
Yes.
and those are two different things. It's not like people like, oh, we're not like bowing down or like kneeling. Like, it's not an act of like being subservient or, you know, showing, submissiveness to the Black Lives Matter movement. It's more so, in my opinion, to do with like not standing with the flag and the racist like national anthem and things like that. So in that, we're gonna like take a seat against that, but also like showing our respects to the Black Lives Matter movement. And I think all that is being like entangled together.
Mm-hmm. Respect. I think that's probably one of the key things, Roshad. So like if I grew up playing soccer, my own brothers too, and you can ask any soccer player, somebody gets injured, when they're injured and their medics or the whatevers are tending to, you take a knee. Like that's literally what you do. So when I see someone taking a knee, I don't see it like as a gesture of disrespect to something. It's showing respect to something else. And so like by kneeling, it just never seemed disrespectful to me. It'd be one thing if he was like turned around with his back to the, like doing something like that's just like a gesture of disrespect. But taking a knee, you do that anytime you see someone get hurt. And right now, people in our country in general is hurting. So it seems like the only right thing to do.
Yeah, for a sports player is to take a knee. That's like what they can do. The way you can show it, because sports players feel like, oh,
the minimum actually. The minimum you could do is that.
Agreed. And on that note, I think that concludes our coverage of the hot topics for the past week or two. I enjoyed that conversation. I hope y'all will continue to talk about these things we're talking about. Leave comments in our continue continue to leave comments on YouTube. We will be watching and reading.
Soldier, come back, cuz.
Feel free to disagree with us. I mean, if you have a solid argument for why you disagree, by all means, go ahead and shoot your shot. You can follow me on Instagram at CoolKey, CoolKeyes.
You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Shads_space. That's SHADS_SPACE.
Before I say follow me on this and that, this is my last episode for a while. I'm getting.
I was supposed to say, whoa. You gonna make that announcement like while we live? Okay, I got you. I remember.
I like Tamara.
Like 2 or 3 episodes, my tonsils removed, so I won't be able to, speak. So we might have somebody in my place. We might not. Y'all don't need nobody for me. I mean, because can't nobody replace me, to be real. So follow me on everything. Clicks by Cam, KLICSBYKAM.
And you can follow me on Insta and Twitter at AbbyRuss, ABIIRUSS.
Remember to like, subscribe, listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. Follow us at Next Topic Podcast on all platforms. Watch our video on YouTube. Click that link and tune in next time to see what we talking about with the next topic.
Yeah.